Hey everybody, it's Josh Alexander from the Brokerage and your host of Orange County Housing Market News, your one-stop shop for all things Orange County real estate. So I go over local trends happening in the market, I interview other experts in the field, and then especially if you're trying to buy or sell a home, I'll go over different tricks, tips, and timely advice to help you succeed in today's market. So if you're thinking of buying or selling, this is a great place to start. So don't forget to hit that like, subscribe, and if you're watching this on YouTube, that bell button as well. That way you're notified every week when I release a new episode. So on this week's episode, I'm going to answer one of the more common questions I get from buyers, whether it be their first home they're trying to purchase or if they own a home and are trying to buy a new one. And that is, should I talk to a real estate agent or a lender first when I'm looking to purchase a new home? So let's go ahead and get into it. Okay, so you're super excited, you decide you wanted to purchase a home, you're getting ready, but you don't know where to start. Should you contact an agent first? Should you reach out to a lender? You're not really sure the best route for you. Well, unfortunately, like most things in real estate, and I know it's not the answer anybody likes to hear, but it's going to depend on your specific situation. However, I'm not going to leave it as vague as that, so let's go over some scenarios that really can help you determine which route might be best for you. Okay, so let's go ahead and assume that we're starting with a blank slate. So what I mean by that is that you don't already have a trusted agent to work with or a trusted lender to work with. You don't know anybody, you're starting out fresh, and let's also assume for the sake of argument right now that we're also in a balanced market. So a balanced market meaning that neither the buyer or the seller has a big competitive advantage when they're going through the transaction. So if you do have an agent or a lender that you've worked with before that you trust, we'll get into that later, and we'll also get into what today's market looks like and how my recommendation might be a little bit different. But again, to start out with, let's go with all things being equal. In a typical market, what I typically recommend is that you want to talk to a lender first. And as a real estate agent, it kind of pains me to say that, but typically you want to talk to a lender first. So why do I say that? Well, there's two big reasons. One, you need to find out if you can even qualify for a mortgage first before you start going through and wasting hours of your night looking at Zillow, going to open houses, interviewing agents, taking all that time out of your day just to find out later on that you can't even purchase a home. It's a big time waster, so that's one of the big reasons why you want to talk to a lender first to figure out if you can afford a mortgage to begin with, and then two, if you can afford a mortgage, what price range are you looking at? Because the same thing applies. You don't want to be talking to agents, looking through Zillow and going touring homes, let's say they're $900,000, only to find out a little bit later on that you can only afford a home maybe up to $750,000. If you're touring these $900,000 homes and then all of a sudden your budget gets reduced to $750,000, that's a completely different type of house, and that might just crush your dreams of what type of home you thought you can afford and maybe turn you off to the whole home buying process in general. So to really prevent that disappointment, it's extremely important to know the numbers and know the financials before you really start looking for a home. And the other big reason that I always recommend talking to a lender first is, let's say you do talk to a lender and they say you are not approved for a mortgage right now. That lender, if they're a good lender, is going to be able to really start putting a plan together for you and basically tell you, hey, you need to pay off this much of your debt, hey, your credit score needs to be this high, or hey, you need to be making $20,000 a year more to be able to qualify for this mortgage. And by doing so, you now have a plan in place and a goal to reach, and month by month, you can work at getting to the point where you need to be able to get that approval for a mortgage. And the same thing on the other side. Let's say you're approved for a loan, but it's not quite as high as you were thinking. The lender can also put together a plan and give you the numbers telling you need to do this, this, and this to be able to get this type of mortgage and afford this type of home. So talking to a lender ahead of time is really important, not only to figure out where you stand now, but to help you plan for the future to get you where you want to be if it's not currently in the cards for you to purchase a home right now. So now's the time you want to talk to an agent, because now you have more financial information for them, which is going to help you eliminate a lot of wasted time trying to figure out what areas you can purchase in, because now you know your budget, you have an idea already most likely of what areas you want to look at. So now you can give all this information to your agent, and then the agent can walk you through from putting offers, looking at properties, going through escrow until you get the keys and walking through that whole process then. So that's typically, again, in a normal market, how I'd recommend going through the process. Okay, so now let's go back to what I said at the beginning and go ahead and assume this time that you do have a trusted agent that you worked with before, or they might be a family or a friend that has successfully been getting buyers into homes frequently over the last year and a half. So the reason I stress that is there's a lot of agents out there that aren't doing a lot of business. And in this market, you need to have an agent that has successfully been getting buyers into homes, because if they haven't, you're really putting yourself at a disadvantage. And yes, they might be disappointed if you don't use them, if they're a family or friend. However, this is one of the biggest, if not the biggest, financial decisions you'll make in your life. You want to make sure that you're making a decision based on financials, not on emotion. So you want to make sure that if you are contacting a family member or a friend, that you do your research ahead of time, make sure that they've been doing business over this last year and a half, and they've been helping getting buyers into homes successfully. Now let's also assume that we're operating in today's market. So as most people know, we're in an extremely hot, and that's an understatement, extremely hot seller's market right now, where still almost all the homes on the market, if they're priced correctly, are getting multiple offers and going into escrow very quickly. That's going to be the case for the rest of the year, and it's going to be the case leading into next year. So we're going to start next year off with the lowest inventory we've ever seen in Orange County to start a year, as well as some of the lowest interest rates we've ever seen. So demand is going to be extremely high. Supply is going to be extremely low for the foreseeable future. So you need to have an agent that's familiar with the market and knows how to successfully get buyers into homes right now. So when we're dealing in today's market, my recommendation does change if you have a trusted agent that you know has been successful. And the reason why is because if there's an agent that's doing a lot of business and is successful, most likely they're going to have a great lender referral for you to be able to help you get a competitive advantage over everybody else that's also using a loan when placing an offer on a home. So what do I mean by this? Well, if you just go into Google and type in lender and you just start applying for loans with a national brand or a big bank, you're really shooting yourself in the foot in this market, because unfortunately, the bigger they are, the less flexible they are. And right now, flexibility is extremely important when you're placing offers on homes, because that can make or break the deal. So what do I mean by this? Well, just for instance, if you're working with a local lender right now, and a lender that knows how the market is, they have skin in the game, they're able to spend more time with each client, they're also able to do a lot more of the legwork up front. They're not only able to get you a pre-approval letter, but they're doing all of their underwriting process up front. So they know that you're basically guaranteed to be able to get this loan. And what that allows them to do as a local small lender is tell you as a buyer, hey, you're fully approved for this loan. We just need to get the price of the home, put it in here. Everything else is going to be good. We don't need a loan contingency. And when you don't need a loan contingency when placing offers on homes, that's not going to quite get you to the same status as a cash buyer, but it's definitely going to put you in an advantage over every other loan out there, because you're able to remove contingencies that most big bank lenders are not going to allow you to remove. If you talk to a big bank and say, hey, can I go ahead and remove this contingency? They're going to tell you no, because it's not a system they have set up in place to be able to help buyers right now. So if you want more information on why having the right lender, especially in today's market, is such a competitive advantage, check out my last episode where I interviewed Dino from California Coastal Loans. So if you're watching this on YouTube, I'll put a link up in the corner, or if you're listening to this on the podcast, I'll put it in the show notes. But check out that episode, because we go into detail why having a local lender that knows the market and can be more flexible when placing offers can help you get your offer accepted even when it's not the highest offer. So it's definitely something you want to check out before you start the home buying process. Now, if you don't have that trusted agent in your corner already, in today's market, I would probably recommend that you're reaching out to both agents and lenders at around the same time. And like I said before, if you can reach out to a local lender, you're probably going to have better success with them. And if you're reaching out to an agent who has been successful in helping buyers get into homes and they can articulate how they can make your offer different to be able to get your offer accepted, those are the type of agents you want to work with. Those are the type of lenders you want to work with. So you might need to be reaching out to both simultaneously, getting some different quotes from maybe 1 or 2 lenders, as well as talking to a few agents to figure out which one that you not only match personality-wise, because you're going to have to be able to get along, but they have the successful record to prove that they're helping buyers get into homes in today's crazy market. Now, real quick, if you are thinking of purchasing a home, especially if it's your first home and you don't really know where to start and you want to understand what lenders are looking for, what documents they're going to ask for, as well as how to budget for your first home, make sure you check out the link that I put in the show notes below. I have a free guide on how to budget for a home, and that's a great place to start to get the financials in place before you start reaching out to a lender or an agent. So definitely check that out. So I hope you found this information useful, and as always, stay healthy, stay happy, and I'll see you next week on the next show. Take care. Bye.